um presidente da República de um país do tamanho dos Estados Unidos ficar ameaçando o mundo através da internet. Não é correto. Sabe? Ele precisa saber que o mundo mudou. Sabe? Não queremos imperador. Nós somos países soberanos. Se ele achar que ele pode taxar, os países têm o direito de taxar também. Esse país tem lei, esse país tem regra, e esse país tem um dono chamado povo brasileiro. Portanto, dê palpite na sua vida e não na nossa.
The president announced last night that any countries aligning themselves with the anti-American policies of BRICS will be charged with an additional 10% tariff. Can you tell us more details on that? What specific policies is the president talking about here? What policies should countries stay away from to avoid being subject to additional tariffs?
Sure. Well, the president feels, generally speaking, that BRICS is seeking to undermine the interests of the United States. It's the president's utmost responsibility to put the interests of the United States first. That's how he views his job as president. So he's going to ensure that America is fairly treated on the world stage, and he'll take any action necessary to prevent countries from taking advantage of the United States and our people. Go ahead.
One question on education funding
for
for
Thank you
states and
very much. I
local
appreciate it,
districts.
Caroline. Two questions for you related to the Prime Minister's visit today. Number one, there's a report circulating that the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation provided a proposal to the White House to build these so-called humanitarian transit areas inside and outside of Gaza. The GHF is insistent it has nothing to do with that proposal. Can you shed any light on whether the White House has received such a proposal, and if so, from whom?
I'm unaware if a proposal from the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation was sent to the White House. I haven't seen it, but I can ask our National Security Council.
And also a document circulating that the White House is prepared to lift the Foreign Terrorist Organization designation from HTS, the group of President al-Shara in Syria. Can you confirm that that's taking place?
Again, I haven't heard that, or I'm not aware of that action taking place. As you know, we did lift particular sanctions on Syria, but we did leave them on for particular terrorist groups. If that has changed, we will, of course, let you know if there's a change in policy, but I'm unaware of one at this time. Sure, go ahead.
Me? Hi, Caroline. Thank you. Ahead of
and then you can go too, since you're so eager.
ahead of the president's meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu today, is there a scenario where Israel has made it clear that they will not bring an end to this war until Hamas is decimated? And the president just 5 months ago suggested a potential takeover of Gaza. Is there a situation where tonight the two men will change their posture, and in the scenario that Hamas turns over the remaining hostages, that the war could come to a permanent end, and that they will seek that under that scenario that they would essentially try to bring this war to a permanent end beyond just that 60-day ceasefire?
Again, you're putting a hypothetical situation in the air, so I don't want to comment on that out of respect for these ongoing negotiations and discussions that are taking place. But as for the takeover of Gaza, I don't believe the president ever said that. I think he discussed a rebuilding of Gaza once this war is over. This has become an uninhabitable place for human beings, and the president has a big heart. He wants this to be a prosperous, safe part of the region where people and families can thrive, and there will be a need for a real rebuilding effort when the time comes. But right now we need to end this war, and we need to bring all of the hostages home. The president is adamant about that.
The war tonight?
Look, again, I will let the president speak for himself later if he decides to comment on the details of the agreement, but out of respect for the discussions, I won't do that from the podium. Go ahead.
So Congressman Lawler and Gottheimer have introduced a bill in Congress, the Bunker Buster Act, that would allow the United States to sell B-2 bombers and bunker buster bombs to Israel. Is that something the president would support?
Well, I don't know if the president's aware of the Bunker Buster Act, but I will ask him and see what his opinion on that is. I'm not sure.
All right, thank you.
Caroline. Thank you, Caroline. Building off of the question earlier about the shooter in Texas who targeted ICE, Axios reported today, I believe, that Democrat lawmakers were saying their constituents are calling on them to be more violent when they go to ICE facilities, including, I believe, they want them to shed blood, and that they said that Democrat lawmakers should be willing to get shot themselves. Can you respond to that, and do you have concerns that any of these lawmakers might act on the wishes of their constituents?
It's hard to believe anyone with morals in this country or decency would say such a thing. Obviously, the White House condemns that rhetoric, and we condemn violence of any kind. This administration is simply trying to enforce our laws, and we must be a nation of law and order. You cannot simply waltz across our border and live here illegally and expect to stay. We are going to enforce our nation's laws, and the men and women who are doing that are doing so in a respectful way. They are doing so within the confines of the law, and they are just trying to do their jobs. And we condemn any violence or any calls for violence of any kind against any American. Go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline. I wanted to ask you if...
I was not calling on you, but you can go ahead. It's fine. There's a lot of people in here today.
President Trump
Sure.
already saw the letter that the Colombian President Gustavo Petro sent him, apologizing for his comments a few weeks ago, suggesting that there was an involvement from the U.S. government in an alleged coup d'etat in Colombia. And Secretary Rubio recalled the U.S. Chargé d'Affaires in Colombia. Did President Trump saw that letter, and what do you think about the comments from President Petro suggesting that the U.S. has some kind of involvement in a coup?
I'm not sure if the president has seen that letter, but I can check with him in the National Security Council. We will get you a response if you follow up with my team. We will find out for you.
Caroline?
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline.
Iris, go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Caroline. On two topics. First,
I
on
love how
tariffs.
excited everyone is on Monday. Yes, Raquel, you can go out.
On two topics. First, tariffs. The president announced last night that any countries aligning themselves with the anti-American policies of BRICS
That's right.
will be charged with an additional 10% tariff. Can you tell us more details on that? What specific policies is the president talking about here? What policies should countries stay away from to avoid being subject to additional tariffs?
Sure. Well, the president feels, generally speaking, that BRICS is seeking to undermine the interests of the United States. It's the president's utmost responsibility to put the interests of the United States first. That's how he views his job as president. So he's going to ensure that America is fairly treated on the world stage, and he'll take any action necessary to prevent countries from taking advantage of the United States and our people. Raquel, go ahead.
On illegal immigrants, Reuters' Tom Homan told us this morning that ICE will have to arrest 7,000 illegal immigrants every day for the remainder of this administration to just catch the ones that were let in during the last administration. I'm wondering what the new resources and manpower, of course, given by the Big Beautiful Bill, which of course opens the door for ICE to hire additional 10,000 agents and officers. What's the administration's expectations now for daily arrest numbers going forward in the upcoming months?
Sure. I'll let the Secretary of Homeland Security and her department speak on what they're looking for in terms of daily numbers. What I can tell you is I receive the daily reports each morning, and ICE is out there doing the jobs that they swore an oath to do, and they are removing public safety threats from our communities every day, and our country is becoming a safer place because of their efforts. And the One Big Beautiful Bill that is now law will give significant resources to ICE and Border Patrol to continue the tremendous work that they are already doing. And I think every American who wants to live in a safe neighborhood should be grateful for their efforts. Raquel.
Thank you, Caroline, so much.
Raquel, and then I can go to you.
So much.
And then you, Dr. Harper.
Thank you, Caroline. It's a follow-up on the BRICS question. So does President Trump believe that the BRICS are getting stronger or trying to isolate the United States? And how close is he monitoring this summit that is taking place in Brazil right now?
He's closely monitoring it, which is why he put out a statement himself. He does not perceive these countries as growing stronger. He just perceives them as trying to undermine the United States' interests, and that's not okay with him, no matter how strong or weak a country may be. Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Yes.
As promised, yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Does Trump have a vision for post-war Gaza? You mentioned, he's talking about now the ceasefire, but does he support permanent or temporary Israeli presence in the Gaza Strip? Does he continue to see a continued role for the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation to continue to operate in the Gaza Strip?
Well, as you know, because we've talked about it before, the president has directed aid to be moved into the region, and that has been taking place. You've actually seen people in the Gaza Strip yelling out, "Thank you, Trump," for the aid and for the meals that they have received, because the previous administration never did that for some reason. But this president, again, wants to see peace and stability in the region. So as I outlined previously, he views this part of the region as having a real chance at being peaceful and prosperous. But again, we need to end this war. We need to get all the hostages home, and Hamas needs to accept this proposal in order to do that. Dr. Harper, go ahead.
I'm Dr. Anthony Harper with the Intermountain Christian News. Thank you for taking my questions. Given the nature of the Palestinian Authority, with their pay to slay, teaching Jew hatred to children, corrupt leaders, and no elections for 19 years, who does President Trump support to govern Area A and Area B to prevent Hamas from ruling? And what is President Trump's position on Israeli sovereignty?
Sure. Well, the president believes Israel, of course, has a right to defend itself. As for the first part of your question, you're getting ahead, Dr. Harper. As I told you, the president wants Hamas to accept this proposal right now. He wants to see peace in this region, and he's committed to doing that. Sean.
Hey, Caroline, can you just please walk us through the decision to halt the supply of weapons to Ukraine at a time when Russia is really hitting Ukrainian cities and civilians? Was that the president who decided that, or did the Pentagon do it without his approval?
No, neither of those things are true. I'm happy to walk you through it. This was a standard review by the Pentagon of all weapons and all aid and all support that the United States is providing all countries and all regions around the world, not just Ukraine. When the Secretary of Defense took office, he directed the Pentagon to conduct this review to ensure that everything that's going out the door aligns with America's interests. So it's a pause to review to ensure that everything the Pentagon is pushing out there is in the best interest of our military and our men and women in uniform. Fran.
Two questions on Israel. You suggested that Hamas is the impediment currently to a ceasefire. So if not a ceasefire deal, then what does the president hope to achieve with tonight's dinner with the prime minister?
Again, you guys are getting around to a lot of hypotheticals. I don't want to get ahead of the president, but there are many other issues to discuss with Prime Minister Netanyahu tonight related to the region and just the entire world. So this will be a dinner to talk about Operation Midnight Hammer, which was incredibly successful, to talk about peace in Gaza and ending that conflict, as well as many other topics of discussion in relation to Israel and the United States. Sure, go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline. Given the fact, this is on the trade letters, given the fact that the president put into effect the tariffs on April 2nd and then put the pause into place, is the president at all concerned that these countries that are receiving the letters won't take them seriously because the deadline seems to have shifted already and may shift again?
They will take the letters seriously because they have taken the president seriously, and that's why the president's phone, I can tell you, rings off the hook from world leaders all the time who are begging him to come to a deal. And this administration is working hard to ensure those deals are in the best interest of the American people. And this delay, again, is in the best interest of the American people. And you all will continue to see these letters released on the president's Truth Social, and we will see you all later. Thank you, guys.